So some days ago, I woke up and the first feeling I felt was a feeling of fear mixed with faith. And so I did my morning routine as usual. I went outside, opened my ice bath, broke the ice, and went inside. And here, with time, the fear actually went away because I knew that there were only two things that could make me exit that ice bath. The first one was me starting to shiver, and the second one was the timer ringing. And so I was inside of my ice bath, looked at my watch, and I saw that half the time was already over. I looked again, and there were just 2 minutes over. I looked again, and there were left only 30 seconds. And as soon as I saw 30 seconds, I already knew that I had achieved my goal. So I actually achieved it and ticked off that box in my journal. But I made a really big mistake, which I don't want you to replicate. So my name is Andrea Proneri, and if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing because this channel is kind of new, and so if you don't subscribe, you will probably not see my future videos. So you have probably already guessed what this video is about. It's about ice baths. And I will especially talk about the benefits that I've seen personally on my life that I got from ice baths. And I will also explain the science behind it. Then I will also tell you how I would tell my younger self to start approaching ice baths. And then I will also give you some very important things to keep in mind when taking ice baths so that you don't make the same mistake that I did some days ago. So when it comes to the benefits, so the first one is kind of an obvious one, and that is that I got more adapted to the cold. I could literally go around in t-shirt and shorts in the middle of winter at about 0 degrees when everyone was there with their jacket, and I felt comfortable at those temperatures. I actually didn't have cold, and I was not cold, and I didn't catch a cold. And why is that? Research have actually shown that cold exposure increases your brown fat storage. And why is that important? Because brown fat is not the belly fat that you want to get rid of. Brown fat is actually the fat that is stored around your inner organs, and that is the fat that your body uses to create heat. So you actually want more of that fat. The second great benefit that I've seen on myself is an increased sensation of calmness during the day. And yeah, I could argue that this is because I journal and I meditate and do all the other things. But research have actually shown that cold exposures lower your heart rate and make you feel calmer overall. Because cold exposures actually train your whole cardiovascular system. And why is that important? That is important because by doing that, your heart will be able to pump the same nutrients by pumping less times, and therefore you will feel more calm. The other reason because you feel more calm is simply because cold exposure is a very, very stressful situation for your body and mind. And therefore, by training yourself to stay calm in a stressful situation, you will actually see, and I've seen personally on myself, that you will be able to navigate life and especially stressful situations in life with much more ease, where everyone now is there stressed, and then stop. I'm just calm because I'm used to it. The third great benefit of cold exposure is linked with discipline. And so just think about it, bro. Literally every single day, the second thing I do in the morning is to jump in an ice bath. And what does science say about this? Andrew Huberman has actually talked about it in his podcast with David Goggins. And what he said is that when you do things that you actually don't want to do, so for example, taking an ice bath the second thing in the morning, a part of your brain, which is called mid-cingulate cortex, will actually grow when doing things that you don't want to do. And why is that important? That is important because firstly, you will become more disciplined. So doing hard things will become easier easier. And second thing, this part of the brain has actually been shown to have a correlation with the length of your life in a positive way, obviously. And now we come to the fourth benefit that I've seen on myself personally, which is, I think, the most important one. I feel much happier throughout the day. And here again, I could argue that it's because I meditate, because I do things that I like doing, because I'm more authentic, and because I journal and all the other things. But research have actually shown that cold exposure actually gives you an increase in dopamine levels of about 250%, bro. That's about the same amount of dopamine which is released from taking cocaine. Think about how powerful that is, bro. And you know the best part about it? Cocaine gives you a little spike of dopamine which just lasts for a few minutes, whereas cold exposure will actually give you a long-lasting effect which lasts over many hours. And so by now you know the main benefits that I've seen on myself. And if you haven't clicked off this video, you probably want to experience the same things. And so this is how I would tell my younger self to start out with cold exposure. And it's actually quite simple. That's the best part about it. You just have to attach to your normal day-to-day warm showers 30 seconds of cold showers at the end. It's as easy as that, bro. And what I want you to do is to increase those 30 seconds by about 30 seconds every week. So week 1 is 30 seconds, week 2 1 minute, 1 minute 30, 2 minutes. And you just want to do about 2 to 3 minutes of cold showers. That's perfect. That's the perfect amount of time. You don't need more. And I will also tell you how to not do the same mistake I did some days ago. So the first very important thing is to do your cold showers also when you don't want to. This is especially important to grow that part of the brain we just talked about. But more importantly, you will pretty much never, I have never regretted taking an ice bath or a cold shower. Because at the end of the day, it's just some minutes of discomfort for all those benefits throughout the day, have been calmer, 250% of dopamine release, and you will just feel much better with yourself. So take your cold showers also when you don't want to. The only time where you shouldn't take cold showers is when you're already sick. Now we come to the second pro tip, which is to try to stay as relaxed as possible in the cold shower. I know it's hard, especially at the beginning, especially when you turn on cold. I was one of the people who, when I turned on cold, I was just not able to breathe. And so just take a deep breath just like that and try to stay relaxed, because at the end of the day, remember, you're at ease, nothing really can happen. You can just turn off the shower and that is it. And the last 2 tips are actually related to security. I would say 3 tips. The first one is to end your cold exposure, no matter what kind of cold exposure you do, as soon as you start shivering. That's the first thing, because shivering is the sign that your core body temperature has actually decreased. And so when it actually goes beyond a certain level, you will stop to shiver, and there it can become dangerous. And so just take shivering as a sort of alarm. When you start shivering, you just get out. That's it. Nothing bad will actually happen. The second pro tip is to always have someone with you when you do, for example, an ice bath in a lake or something like that. Just use common sense to make it as safe as possible. Because if you die today, you will not get the benefits of cold exposure tomorrow. And so why not being a little bit wiser and just using your common sense? And the third pro tip is the one that I actually learned just a few days ago when I did a mistake. And that is to not do cold exposures based on your ego, but rather based on how well trained you actually are when it comes to cold exposures. Because what I actually did during the winter was to increase by a little bit every week. Then last week I actually tried a kind of big gap and then came back to my comfort zone again. Then I thought, yeah, I really want to tick that goal off in my journal. What did I do? I took an even greater gap and nothing bad actually happened. But I came out of the ice bath actually feeling kind of good. But as soon as I went into the house, I started shivering a lot. And so it wasn't that great of an experience, but it gave me a lesson, which is to always work yourself up gradually and don't take those big steps just because you want to tick that thing off, as I did. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to not miss on my future videos. And as always, bro, remember that today could literally be your last day, bro. Literally. So live like it. Make it the best day of your life. Wish you all the best and see you in the next video. Bye.